And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to the second half of our broadcast. Welcome back to the OSC Season 12 Championship, lower bracket round number 3. We just wrapped up with our initial 2 matches with our PvPs between Nightmare and Arcfire and Night Phoenix and Mana. All the nights, Jesus. I remember having a really hard time casting Nightmare versus Night Phoenix. It was brutal. It's very brutal. Regardless, we have 2 more matches ahead of us. 2 more best of 5s. We have a ZvT featuring Nicoract and Solar. Here we go. Now, coming into this, Solar is going to be the heavy favorite. True. Solar, he is a favorite player coming into this round, coming into this tournament. But at the same time, so is Wayne. Wayne, he was also a favorite player. Wayne went up against Nicoract last week in the previous round, and he went all the way to the ace match. And in a crazy turn of events, Nicoract took down Wayne. He was able to bring him down in the end. It was able to knock him out of the tournament. I was 100% favoring Wayne in that series. Despite that, Nicoract, he popped off. He had a great showing in that tournament. Was able to bring Wayne, or in this tournament, I should say, was able to bring Wayne down. But now, the opponents, they don't get easier. They do not get easier, especially in this portion of the bracket. Fun fact, the winner of this series faces off against Shin, also in the lower bracket as well. It's brutal. It is brutal here, but here we go. We're jumping into game number 1. We'll see if Nicoract can cause another upset, or if Solar will advance through instead. Let's find out. Let's jump in. Game 1 is going to be on Amygdala. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have our red Terran player representing the Platinum Heroes. It is Nicoract. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the blue Zerg player, from South Korea, representing Team Falcons. It is Solar. Here we go. And again, Solar, he has been less active over the past over the past month. Over the past month, he has been less active. He hasn't been playing in as many open tournaments or online events, so it's great to see more of Solar here in the OSC Season 12 Championship, and he has a lot to make up for. We'll see if he can. We'll see how well he can perform coming in against Nicoract. So far, Hatch, Gas Pool, standard opener. When it comes to the other South Korean Zerg players, I would say that Solar, he's one of the more standard of them. I'm referring to Dark, Shin, and Rogue, right? Dark, Shin, and Rogue, they are all hyper aggressive. They're willing to go for all ins. They're willing to play more roach heavy styles as well. Solar, less so. When I think of Solar, I think of more like a European, like esque ZvT, or just Zerg matchups in general, except for ZvZ. Like, ZvZ is the exception. Solar's an animal. He's an absolute animal in ZvZ. But in these other matchups, he's a little bit more mid-game oriented, typically. So we should be seeing Ling Bane is what I'm getting at. Just Ling Bane into Hydra, into Lurker Tech, into, standard gameplay is what we expect to see. We'll keep an eye on Solar. Likewise, Nicoract, he's a little more aggressive in nature. He's very aggressive. We see a lot of 2 base all-ins and a lot of 3 base all-ins out of Nicoract. Very rarely does he play things out in a standard way into a macro game that is not Nicoract's go-to. So we'll see if Solar can survive that aggression. Now, coming into game 1 on Amygdala, the map is very large. Very large map, very macro-oriented as well. Very difficult to be aggressive, so because of that, I feel like Solar has the edge on some of these larger maps, more so than Nicoract. We'll see if Nicoract does commit to aggression at all-ins, despite the map itself. Or in spite of the map. For now, we have our initial tech. Again, just Hatch, Gas Pool into a 3rd base. Droning up and getting to link speed. Nothing too crazy so far out of Solar. As the Reaper has arrived, it dips into the mineral line. And so far, Solar, he will expand. He will expand. Gonna be forced back. Nicoract dancing with the army. Gonna be zoned away. Behind this, going for a 3rd CC before starport. Economic opener out of Nicoract. So far, so good. But remember, as I mentioned before, Nicoract, he's not just known for 1 base all-ins, sorry, for 2 base all-ins, but 3 base all-ins as well. He's more than willing to go for an 8 racks. So again, my eyes are on Nicoract. Ooh, speaking of, it's going to be a 3cc 2-1-1. That is not a starport, that is a 2nd racks. Okay, second barracks on the way. Now, what this means is we're going to be leading to earlier add-ons. We're going to be leading to an earlier... Oh. Hello. We should be leading into it. Yeah, there we go. Tech Lab is on the way into an add-on swap here into marine production. We should be only making a handful of Hellions before focusing on pure bio into a 2-1-1 stim timing with 2 medevacs and 16 marines. That's going to be the direction, the approach here for Nicoract. As never mind, he made 2 Hellions. He's making an extra wave. He's making an extra wave of Hellions here, which is interesting to me. Okay, just up to 4. So 4 Hellions, then add-on swap. As these Hellions, the goal here is just to be active, just to have somewhat of a presence on the map, but there's less potential to get into a mineral line or to get any meaningful damage in that mineral line as well. Just really delaying the creep. Just delaying as much creep as possible. Oh! Getting 1 drone. Yeah, 1 drone so far, not bad. 1 drone does fall. Nicoract back at home. That is the starport on the way into add-on swap into that reactor. And he's building up his bio. And he should be hitting that stim timing. Solar playing safe, going for the Roach Warren. Let's go. Roach Warren's on the way. Very safe play here out of Solar. Hellions, they try to bypass the Queens. They find an opening, but they don't quite commit though. Nicoract doesn't want to overextend, doesn't want to throw his Hellions. Doesn't want to throw them away. So he is still rotating. You can see how long it takes to rotate on this map as well. Ay, ay, ay. And that's the biggest difficulty here of Amygdala. It's not easy here to apply pressure to the north and south side. Nice denial. Denies the 4th base. Takes down a couple of tumors. Not bad. And here comes the drop. Here comes the build. The 2-1-1. Stim is now done. 3rd rack's behind this. Does move out. 14 Marines alongside 4 Hellions. As Nicoract is going to hunt down the initial Overlord initially. Well, first. Does bring it down. Lings are coming for a run by, but ooh, Nicoract, he does wall up in time. But this is delaying the push. Even forcing a stim. Forces a stim at Nicoract, only a handful of units. But regardless, still delayed. Back at home, Solar's getting ready. Roaches are amassing. Expansion's on the way. And Solar should have enough. He should be able to save the space. Nicoract stimming in. Going for the expansion. Oh, can he bring it down? He can. Massive pickoff. Does force a cancel. Forces a cancel. Pulls away. Abandons the Hellions. Back at home. He does hold the line. So far, so good. So far, so good. Nicoract, he does pull back. Preserves his Marines. And Nicoract, he's really well set up here for a 3-base all-in. What I mean by that, losing this 4th base delays the economy, delays the production. It actually slows down the Zerg player quite a bit. I would slow them down even more if this was Ling Bane. True. Roach Ravager is more lava efficient. So Solar has that going for him. This is why this is typically a much safer way to open up in this matchup as well. As the Overlord goes down. Overlord for a Marine. Better trade for Nicoract. Solar building on more roaches. 1-1 upgrades about to finish up. And Solar, he is cutting workers at 66. And do you see what I see? I see a massive move out. Solar, he has not drawn up his 4th base yet. Just focusing purely on maxing out. Solar is maxing out almost at 200 supply. He has a massive Roach Ravager army and he's going for the all-in. I was trying to bring attention to the potential all-in out of the Terran player, but no, Solar, he's going to beat him to it. As he is not droning whatsoever. 1-1 upgrades are now done. And back at home, where are the tanks? Okay, we have 3 tanks. We have 3 tanks, but they're all in the low ground. Nicoract, he needs some support. He needs some buffer. Army dives in. Wows. Oh, they connect. First tank goes down. And again, there's 2 tanks left. From 2 down to 1. Down to 0. Every tank will go down, and again, there was no bunkers, no buffer zone. GG gets called, and Solar snowballs out of control and takes game number 1. Whew. GG. GG, well played. Nicoract, he was not aware of the all-in coming his way. He did not see the move out. He did not see the lack of saturation. Did not see the army that was building up either. So Nicoract, he was just having a really hard time piecing together what was happening. And because of that, there was no defensive setup for his tanks. Tanks, they're amazing in that position, but they need some kind of support. They need to make sure that the Roach Ravager does not get close to them. Otherwise, we saw what happens. Otherwise, you just go down then and there. GG. GG, well played. With that, Solo will take a lead in the series, and now we're jumping into game number 2. Gonna be jumping into Gressvan. Let's go. And spawning in the top left-hand corner of Gressvan, we have the red Terran player, the Platinum Heroes Terran. Down in the series, we'll see if he can bounce back. It is Nicoract. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have the blue Zerg player representing Team Falcons, leading the series 1-0. It is Solar. Does lead the series, and welcome one and all to Gressvan. If you recall, we were talking earlier how this map is known for long late game, for more macro play. We did see a bit of that in the PvP. True, we got up to 4 base versus 4 base. I'm expecting that here as well. I say I'm expecting that. Clearly, we've seen that even though Nicoract has a more aggressive history in TVZ, and even though he has a reputation for being very aggressive and very all-in, clearly Solar is willing to beat in there as well if he sees an opening. As a reminder, I believe the decision was made when Solo lost his 4th. If you remember, his 4th base was cancelled in the previous game, which did slow him down economically. So he's like, you know what? Screw it. You know, you canceled, you denied my 4th base. I'm gonna just go for the all-in. I'm gonna just cut workers at 66 and just make nothing but Roach Ravager. It can be more difficult to pull that off here just because of the defense position. Unlike on Amygdala, here there's a ramp. There's a ramp coming into the 3rd base's position is much more defendable. The 4th base, a little bit less so. You can always push in between the natural and the 3rd base in this location, or likewise, you can actually lay siege upon this center base from the low ground as well. The 4th base can be a little bit more difficult to defend, but we'll see if we can get to that point. We'll see if Solo plays Roaches for a second time. I wouldn't blame him. I wouldn't blame him if he does play Roach. Especially on Gressvan. We'll see. But now, standard openers. Reapers on the way. And we'll see if Nicoract goes for another 3cc 2-on-1 or if he does shake up his opener. As the Reaper moves out. Moves out, dancing with the initial Lings. Solar so far keeping up. Hasn't lost anything yet. Lings are getting low though. Lings are getting low. Reaper pushes forward. Oh! Doesn't quite get the drone and pulls away. Nicoract does pull away. So far, no losses from either player. One tumor goes down. Nice pickup. Very nice pickup there by Nicoract. And this time, do you see what I see? No 3rd command center. There's no 3rd CC. It's going to be a 1-1-1 out of Nicoract. This is the Nicoract that we know and love. This is the aggressive side that we expected in game 1, and we're getting it here in game 2. What's happening here? First things first. Very rare not to see a 3rd CC. 3rd CC openers are economic, but also very standard, so not going for that command center leads us to believe that we are going to be doubling down on extra Hellions, on faster Banshee production. This can also lead into a faster 2nd and 3rd ranks, into an armory, into a Hellbat push, so Nicoract has options. Does he want to go for a Hellbat push? Does he want to double down and go for a stim timing instead? Or both? Reaper dives in. Getting an eye on the gas, guys. Just wants to make sure there's no hidden Roach Warren. We can see here no extra gas mining has been occurring. So standard play out of Solar, and for the most part, Nicoract confirms. He wants to make sure there's no early rush. Range production has begun. Hellions continue. No add-on yet here on the racks. Focusing on denying vision. Interesting. And there's the add-on. Tech Lab on the way for stim. And we should be seeing extra Raxes. we go. Your Hellions, they threaten a dive. Poking in, getting a volley off, pulling back. Overlord Scout is attempted, but Overlord Scout should be denied. Solar, in saying that, he actually will get eyes on the researching tech lab. That is a tell. He sees and confirms, yeah, the 1-1. So he is, for the most part, aware. He sees 2 researching tech labs. That's a massive tell. And there's that second and third racks. Again, still no third CC. Now, Nicoract, he does have 2 variations of this build. Ooh. One variation is that he stays on 2 bases. He does not get a third CC. He throws down 2 more Raxes and goes up to a 5 rack setup on 2 bases, and he goes for a 1-1 timing 2 base all in. The other version, he's doing it, is 5 rack setup, 2 base all in with a 1-1 timing. The other version, I may as well just say it for potentially a future game, is that he stays on 3. He doesn't get double eBay. He goes into a faster third CC. And he's still aggressive, but not all in, because he can expand behind it and get his third base up and running. Here, there's no third. There's no third base. So this is just a straight up 2 base all in out of Nicoract. And again, he shouldn't be pushing until he gets 1-1. Like, 1-1 is the timing that he's going for. Nicoract, he does dip in. Solo so far is keeping up. Zones away the Hellions. Does zone away. And it's on Solar to confirm what's happening. Now, if he is familiar with Nicoract, like this build that he's going for is kind of like a Nicoract special. Like it's we've seen it before, but I don't know how familiar Solar is with Nicoract. Because 2 base all-ins in this matchup are very rare. They're a rarity here in TVZ. But there's a Roach Warren. It's a very safe play out of Solar. Hellions, they bust through the mineral, and they bust the defensive line. Lynx get roasted, and he's going for the mineral line. He's going for the drones. 4 Hellions make it in, 5 Hellions even. So far, Solar pulls away in time. Good reaction. 1 drone goes down. Banshee does hit the 3rd. And the Hellions have a lot of potential here. They're heading for the natural. Up! Volley goes off. 3 drones so far. He gets 3, he gets 5. Can we get more? Can we get 8? 6. 6 drones go down. Not bad. Banshees are deflected. And Solar defends. Solar does hold. And I'm a little bit concerned that Solar's being too greedy. We have an infestation bit on the way. Behind this, yo, a big shout out to... Oh my god. Big shout out to... Pezeveng Judge? Peze. I'll settle on that. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the gifted sub, to the community. Thank you so much for the support. God, papi, God, we do appreciate it. Thank you. Gracias, papi, gracias. Gifted sub to Demon Deity, or Demon Deity. Thank you. Do appreciate the support. It's thanks to the support that we get in the chat that we're able to, of course, do this as often as we can. So thank you so much. As here comes the push, here comes the all-in. Remember, we spoke about it. 1-1. 1-1 is done. Stim is done. Combat Shield's finishing up just in time. And how many tanks do we have? 2. 2 tanks, soon to be 3. Solar getting ready for a run by. Nicoract pushing in. Solar, he has roaches, but no ravagers. And roaches are being targeted down one after the other. Nicoract, he stims in, takes down the mineral line. Yeah, 10 drones going down. Solar, he's struggling, but again, we're fighting out of range of the tanks. We need those tanks. The Marines are getting overstimmed. Tanks are now moving forward. They're a little bit late to the party. It's going to be close. As Solar's holding. Solar, he's breaking through. He's trying to get on top of the tanks. Never mind. Oh my god, Nicoract. He barely breaks through. He holds. Nicoract. He shuts down the roaches. He gets on top of the queens. The base is under fire. Reinforcements have arrived at Nicoract. He's done it. He has broken the back of Solar. Again, Solar, he was not expecting this heavy of a 2-base all-in. He was taking. This is what I was concerned by. He was getting infestation, but he was getting a hydrogen. He was taking up towards a later game. He was getting a 4th base fully saturated. Nah, mate. Too greedy. Too greedy out of Solar. I say that Solar, he's got 14 lings on the way. Can he still hold on? He shouldn't be able to. Yeah, he shouldn't be able to. GG gets called at Nicoract. He ties up the series 1-1. Let's go. GG, well played. Nicoract with the Nicoract special comes in with the 2-base all-in. Solar, he didn't confirm. If you remember, he went in with the Overlord and he saw double tech lab. He saw them both researching. That is a tell as to a late 3rd, but it looks like Solar assumed it was just a late 3rd. It looks like he just assumed it was just a late third base. He did not take the all-in seriously enough. Remember, he had gotten a fourth base, taken the gases, got an infestation bit, gotten a hydrogen, he got the gases saturated as well. He was so greedy there. Whereas otherwise, what do we need? Just pure Roach Ravager. Just get up to 3 base saturation, like we saw previously with 66 workers, and just make pure Ling Roach Ravager. There was 0 Ravagers, 0 Lings, only a handful of Roaches. And in the end, Nicoract, he snowballed out of control. GG. Oh my god. GG, well played. Just catching up. Oh, sorry, it was a gifted sub and a resub for 19 months. Great content. Keep going. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. I mean, that's a lot of months, Baffy. That's a lot of months. Thank you. Thanks so much for the support. 16-month win streak. Or streak in general. Thank you. Thank you. GG. GG. Whew. And with that, we have a series, we have a back and forth. And again, this is where if you're not familiar with Nicoract, you can be caught with your pants down. He has a reputation of being hyper aggressive and hyper all in, and he can take it to anyone out there, including Solar. And here we go, spawning in the top right hand corner of Frostline, we have the Red Terran player, the Platinum Heroes Terran, tying up the series. Can he keep going? Can he take down his opponent? Can he cause another upset? It is Nicoract. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the South Korean Zerg player, the Blue Zerg, representing Team Falcons, being forced into a tied series. We'll see if he can recover. It is Solar. We go. We go. And so far we are just building up here on 2 bases. Standard opener, going for a rack suspend, likewise hatch gas pool out of Solar as well. But welcome one and all to Frostline. Frostline is likewise a large map of the map pool. I would say is less defendable than Gresvan, so we could see some aggressive potential here on this map. We could see it succeed. This time though, I'm sure that Solar's going to be a little more wary. I'm sure this time Solar, he's going to be a little more careful about his opponent. If he scouts, if he sees that there's no third base, he's going to be taking it more seriously, I would imagine. So Solar is being introduced to Nicoract. It's like, oh, okay. You got some builds, Bab. You got some builds. True, he does. As Nicoract is getting his CC on the low ground and moving out with his SCV scouts. So far, so good. And again, I would imagine that Solar is not going to be anywhere near as greedy this time. Even if he feels safe to do so. That's exactly what Nicoract wants. That's what he wants, Pac. What he wants. Go. As Nicoract is actually making, sorry, it's Solar making an extra wave of Lings. We have 6 Lings on the way as opposed to the usual 4. So a much safer response here from Solar. Reaper dips in. Dancing with the Lings. Solar should be able to defend. Without losing too much. Oh, 1 Ling goes down. Not bad. 1 Ling does fall. There we go, pulls away. Battery's finishing up, and the question becomes, do we go for another 1-1-1? Do we go for a 3rd CC? We have the 184. It should be a 3rd command center. Ooh, Reaper goes down. Nicoract, otherwise distracted, gets caught with his pants down. Massive loss. Meanwhile, it's going to be a 1-1-1. So 2 games in a row, no 3rd command center. So far, this opener is looking just like the previous game, but as a reminder, as I was trying to say coming into Gresvan, is that Nicoract, he has 2 variations. He can go for, and he can commit into a 2-base all-in, just like what we saw. He could also go for an earlier CC to have a committed start, but then have a more economic follow-up. He could also throw down an armory, and we could see the reactors stay on the factory, make extra Hellions, and turn this into a Hellbat push. So Nicoract, he has options. Does have options. Oh my god, going for it. No add-on. Early medevac. Going for a Hellion drop. Okay, speaking of different variations here. We have a fast Hellion drop out of Nicoract, then into Stim. Checking the vision. Solar, what did he see? He saw nothing. He's going for the scout. Overlord is waddling in. Marine out of position. Overlord will get eyes on the production. On most of it. Sees the racks. Confirms it would be out on swab. Ooh, and spots the medevac as well. Big scout. And you can see immediately going for the main. So big scout for Solar. He sees the medevac on the way, so he knows that a drop is imminent. He's getting in position. There's that Roach Warren. Going for the Roach Warren as well. Lings are amassing. Liberator on the way. And there's a third CC. As we mentioned, this is not an all-in version. This is a late third. That is true. So there's a lot of pressure on Nicoract to get damage done, but he's not all in. Is expanding. That was a third CC before the second and third racks. Hellions poking in. They don't get much done. So far, getting one active tumor. As he does go for the mineral line. So far, Soli pulls away in time. Oh no! Oh, it takes too much hits. Yeah, too much damage here, but barely will escape. Oh my god, with 6 HP. One shot away from going down, barely makes it out. Whew. And will escape. Will escape. Solo going for his own counterattack. Solo, he will get eyes on the third CC, so now he knows that there's no all-in. He should now feel a little bit safer, and he should be droning. Back at home. Lair is almost done. Liberator has arrived. Gets shut down by the Spore. A rough moment there for Nicoract. Solid defense. So he defends well. We have a couple of safety roaches on the way. Just for safety. Gases are being taken. From here, Solo should be seeing a fourth. And now the next question becomes, is Solo going to saturate the fourth base? Is he going to tech? Or is he going to cut workers here at 66 and go for a roach all in? What is the plan? Now, a couple of things. He knows that the third base is late, so he knows that the Terran player is going to have a worse economy than they usually do. So I can definitely see rationale for Solo thinking, okay, I'm just going to double expand and saturate my bases. Yep, there it is. Infestation bits on the way. This tells us that he doesn't tend to go for a longer game soon. Is playing for a longer game. Aliens, they catch a bunch of active tumors. Baneling that's on the way. This tells us it's going to be Roach Ravager initially, then into Lingbane. So it's going to be Lingbane Roach Ravager out of Solar. Which is a more standard mid-game composition. Which means we have a back and forth. And I do favor Solar coming into this. Just because Nicoract, he, again, had an aggressive start, but he didn't really achieve too much with that aggressive start. The Liberator did no damage. The Hellion drop did no damage. He sims in. Ooh, takes a lot to the face. We'll catch out some of these roaches. But still a rough trade here for Nicoract. That was 12 Marines and 4 Hellions for 7 roaches. We'll say costly trade. Has to back off. Hive is already on the way. Yes, Solo just taking full advantage of the disrupted opener of Nicoract. So Solo just droning, taking gases, getting up to 79 workers already, getting up to 80 drones, which is going to be the ideal. And soon he can just focus on purely army production. And Solo's going to be the first to max. He's going to be the first to max out. Nicoract, he's stuck at home. We don't see any drop play from him yet. Gases are being taken. Second factory. This tells us that Nicoract intends on getting a 4th CC, but taking a 4th base on Frostline is difficult. We didn't get to talk about it, but this map, yes, it is large, but the bases are very spread out and very vulnerable. Defending your 3rd and defending your 4th and your 5th base, it's difficult to pull off here. As there's no natural defense, there are some ramps, but the ramps are very wide, they're very large, so you cannot wall off as easily. Your SimCity is limited. As Nicoract, he does stim in. Oh! Stims in, shaves off some lings. Is forced back. Nicoract getting forced back. Solar taking up into the Hive is done into Ultras. So from Lingbane Roach Ravager into Lingbane Roach Ravager Ultra. Lovely contamination here on the factory. Let's go. Contaminates the factory. More Rax is on the way. 4 CC has begun for Nicoract. Looks like he intends to expand towards his opponents. Makes the most sense. Expanding towards the Zerg. What this means is that he can move forward by expanding with his main army as well, so it's easier to defend. Or at least it should be. As Nicoract, he will deny the 5th. Forces the cancel on the 5th base, not bad. Solar, he does set up a counterattack. And Solar's maxed. So he's maxed out. He's ready for a fight. Nicoract stims in, catches out a good chunk of roaches. 4 or 5 roaches going down. Not a bad start. But right now he has no answer here to the Ultras. There are no ghosts, no liberators. Good setup. Nice spread of tanks. Files like graves the army. Drop gets dealt with. Solar's ready for it. And with that blinding cloud with the Vipers, looks like he can break this line. Guessing's up with the tanks. They're going to be focused down. Baling's rolling in. Another blinding cloud. And the tank is completely reset. And again, there's no answer to the Ultras. Solar can just keep pushing. He can't just keep going. Back at home, 1 tank. There's 1 tank to defend. Job comes back in. He wants the expansion. He might get it. Up, up. Takes down the drones. Pulls away. Does pull away. Solar, he races back home to defend. Does race home. So far, keeping up with the drop play. Forcing back Nicoract. Solar, he rotates. No 4th base yet. He finds all the transferring workers. SC is going to be going down, and Solar, he can just commit in. He can, and he will. The tank gets caught unsieged. Brutal pickoff. Tank goes down. 2nd tank as well. But Solar's getting surrounded. He will lose these Ravagers. Nice piles. We will lose the Ravagers. We'll lose the Ultras as well. Not the worst fight here from Nicoract. Catching 2 Ultras. Sorry, 3 Ultras went down. 3 Ultras, 4 Ravagers for 2 tanks. And a handful of Marauders. Not bad. Solar, he remaxes, he rotates. Once again, going for the dive, this time with Vipers. And going for the Parabomb. Parabomb to Medevac. Blinding clouds of tanks. Oof. Vipers, they pull away, they survive, and Nicoract, the defensive line gets broken. Going for the mineral line as well. Files, they connect. Planetary, it looks like it should go down. Never mind. The hold. Nicoract, he's barely holding on. He saves the Planetary. Crazy. But alas, Solar, he's still maxed. Like, Solar, he's still maxed out. So there's plenty more Ultras. He saved the Vipers, more importantly. They're gathering energy once again. And Nicoract, he needs more time to build back up. To build up a ghost count. And we'll see if he can. Solar rotating over. Does rotate. Once again, Nicoract out of position. This time the Planetary is going to go down. Yeah, brings down the Planetary, rolls on in. And Nicoract, he's been holding on for as long as he has, but now this time He will lose the base. Lose the base. Will defend against the ultras though. Ghost, they're holding on. Snipe all 3 ultras. Nicoract again, he's surviving on 3 bases, but the 4th base is just so difficult to hold on to. Time and time again is being knocked down. And the biggest problem here is that Solar's left alone. Solar, his economy is completely untouched. So he is freely just remaxing. He's just remaxing time and time again. He can just keep committing. And Nicoract, he isn't able to slow him down. He has no supply to send across the map. Just perpetually stuck at home. Stuck defending. And here comes Solar. Goes for the 3rd. Nicoract out of position. Link Beam rolling in. He wants the Ghost. Up. Oh, going for the tanks even. Oh, and massive alien connection. Takes down the Ghost. The tanks. GG gets called as Solar. He breaks through and Solar takes a 2-1 lead in the series. GG. Whew. Oh my god. GG, well played. Solar, he will take a lead. And Solar is now 1 game away from advancing on to the next round. 1 more game is all he needs. Nicoract, he has to fight back here and now to force the ace match. Again, we've already seen that Nicoract, he can take it to Solar. He can catch him off guard. But again, the pressure is on. And we're loading into a much smaller map. A map known for aggression. Whispers of Gold. Let's go. Let us go. Now, last game, Nicoract, he almost like faked a 2-base all-in, and he went for a 3rd TC a little bit later, which meant that he fell behind. To be honest, like, Nicoract, he fell behind with his build as he wasn't able to do enough damage with the Hellion drop because he got scattered. He didn't do any damage with the Liberator either, and he just had a later 3rd as a result, so he had a really hard time getting to the mid-game, but we'll see how that changes here on Whispers of Gold. As spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have the red Terran player representing the Platinum Heroes. Down in the series, we'll see if he can bounce back. It is Nicoract. Give us the ace match. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the South Korean Zerg player, the Blue Zerg, representing Team Falcons. 1 game away for advancing on into the next round. It is Solar. We go. And because last game we saw Nicoract kind of like fake an all in, I'm pretty sure this time he's going to commit. Whether it's 2 bases or on 3 bases, I do expect Nicoract to double down, to commit into aggression. I expect him to be more assertive, especially because of the map itself. Welcome one and all to Whispers of Gold. This is the smallest map in the map pool, shortest rush distance by ground. Aggression is favored here on Whispers of Gold, and as a result, I feel like Nicoract also going to be favored as well. I say that Solar has the option to be aggressive himself. We could see like a fast Roach Warren and a Roach Rush and the Ling Flood behind it, and Solar could commit to his own early game aggression, but he's not really known for that. We did see an all-in out of Solar previously on Amygdala, but that was a 3-base all-in. Like a very different kind of vibe, very different kind of setup. It's a little bit more macro-oriented, of course, because you get into a 3-base economy. We'll see if Solar's willing to be a little bit more active, a little bit more aggressive earlier on in the game. For now, standard openers. For now, Hatch Gas Pool out of our Zerg player, and we have our initial Reaper opener out of Nicoract. It does move out. Does move out across the map. Gets into the mineral lane. Now just dancing with the Lings. No major damage. Now gonna be zoned away. 3rd base on the way for Solar, and really our eyes are on what comes after this factory. Do we go for a 3rd CC? Do we go for a starport? What do you have for us? What do you got? As there it is, 1-1-1. Okay, So 3 games in a row. 3 games in a row, we have seen a 1-1-1 out of Nicoract. A game, the first time we saw this, it did lead into a big 2-base all-in. The second time we saw this last game, it led into a delayed third TC, kind of like a fake-out 2-base all-in. This time, I'm expecting him to commit. I'm ready here for extra axes. Meanwhile, that's a Ling Flood. Oh my god! Solar is going for 18 Lings behind this. Jesus, is going for a lot of aggression here. Should be moving out across the map momentarily. Back at home, Nicoract, though, he's massing up his Hellions as we speak. He's getting a second wave of Hellions going from 2 up to 4. We'll see if that's going to be enough. Now, Solar, he is droning up, but still very committed. His goal here to get economic damage here at the natural. The first 2 Hellions are out of position. He does miss the move out. But there are 2 Hellions back at him to defend. Don't get surrounded. Ooh, as they do spot the Lings. So far, good kiting, but Lings, they bust into the mineral line. SCVs are still going down. Oh, this is getting out of hand. 7 SCV kills. 7 workers fall. Nicoract, he's racing back home. 8 workers falling. Gonna get up to 9. And 9 SCV kills. From here, Nicoract should be able to defend. Again, this is brutal damage. And Nicoract is going to be forced even more all-in. As the deeper goes down, Nicoract working towards a stim timing. But he is slowed down here as he lost 10 workers. Aye. From here, Solar can just drone. He can just chill, he can just drone up, he can just saturate. Now, once again, there is a world, if Solar is too greedy, if Solar takes his gases, double evo chamber, infestation pit, a hydro den, 4th base. If Solar is too greedy, then Nicoract can kill him. That's only if Solar's greedy. And we see a safety Roach Horn. Roach Horn's on the way. This is to be safe. And do you see what I see? A 3rd TC. Nicoract, he knows that he can no longer sustain a 2-base all-in, so he's going for an expansion. He's going to try to macro out of this. Bold move out of Nicoract. Bold move. It's not going to be easy to pull this off. Going for more maxes. Wackos, Roaches are amassing back at home for Solar. Building up his Roach count. Nicoract being active. I mean, there's a chance he can get into a mineral line. True. But for now, Solar is keeping up with those rotations. And Nicoract, he's mainly just a 9 creep. So far, at least. Double E-Bays on the way, extra maxes. Again, it's going to be an uphill battle here for Nicoract. Once again being zoned away. In the main base, there is a spore in position. But the queens are busy. And he's just going for the dive. He has to. He's just diving straight into that natural. Lings are keeping up. They lock down the Hellions, though. The Hellions get locked down. The SimCity is brutal here. Roaches keep up. The Hellions, they do full one after the other. They raid into the main base. Does get some damage, though. Not bad. 4 drone kills. 5 drone kills. Soul was distracted. And Nicoract does get 5 kills in the main base. That is okay. Doesn't make up for the dead Hellions, though. Unfortunately, looking at the install step here, 6 Hellions went down for 5 drones. So still not too worth it here for Nicoract. And Solar is gearing up. Solar, he's made his decision. What do we see? We see a 4th base. Do we see saturation? No. No saturation here. We have 5 overlords on the way. And Solar, he's going for a push. This is just like on Amygdala. He's going for his own 3-base all-in. His cutting workers at 68. That is just barely above 3-base saturation. But there's no other tech. There's no infestation bit, no hydrogen, no hive, no further upgrades. Just purely Roach Ravager on 3-base economy. And Nicoract is vulnerable. He's vulnerable right now. This is why Solar's going for this build, because he knows that Nicoract is behind. He knows that Nicoract has to cut corners. and that he shouldn't be ready for this push. And here comes Solar. Takes down the first tank. Gets one. Gets two. There's one tank left on the high ground. Marines are coming from behind. Oof. Bit of friendly fire. Solar's by himself, but regardless, he's pushing through that defensive wall. And he breaks through the wall, pushing in towards the natural. Ooh, piles a connect. There was a changeling. Changeling provided high ground vision, and GG gets called. Solar, he will claim the series 3-1. Will advance on into the next round. GG. GG, well played. Cheeky moved this game out of Solar. If you remember, Solar, he went for a Link Flood. He went for a big Link Flood early on, was able to catch Nicoract with his pants down, was able to get so many SCV kills at the natural, and that did give Solar a massive lead, a massive advantage. Likewise, because of all that damage, Nicoract, he was forced to expand. He made the decision that he could no longer commit, and he could never pull off a 2-base solo. He just didn't really have the economy for it, so he had to try to play out a later game, and he was shut down in doing so. Again, it's just a really rough position for Nicoract, and it was damned if you do and damned if you don't. It was just a rough position in general there, and GG. Solar, he will claim the series, will advance on to face off against Shin in the next round. GG. GG, well played. Best of luck to Solar in that ZvZ, as that leads us into our final series of the night. That leads us into our final series, our final matchup. Here we go. It is going to be a Terran versus Protoss matchup instead. Also, very quickly, big shout out to Nicoract, because even though Nicoract, he's knocked out of the tournament, he did very well for himself, right? He was able to make a series out of this against Solar, and he also defeated Wayne, who, again, I rate quite highly. So, Nicoract, he did very well here in this tournament. It took down some big names, and there's no shame in going down to a player like Solar whatsoever. So, GG, well played, is knocked out, is eliminated, and that leads us into this final Terran versus Protoss best of 5.